What's going on, y'all? My name is Joltik, and today got an extra special video for you. This time, it's not just me, and it's not just Kip, who we've had before, but we've got two other people making their channel debuts here to talk about LPL Week 1 LCUU action. It's exciting. Like I said, though, we do have LCUU head honcho Kip. Say hi.
Yeah, we are. Hello. I am back.
Yep. We've also got making his channel debut, the boy, it's Zero.
Hey guys, what's going on?
Yep. And last but not least, we've got the Spaniard, JC.
Hey, Luis.
All right. Now, if y'all don't know what LPL is, it is a Discord-based LC tour. It's LCUU's biggest representation of the year until we get into LCPL, which we will do. But for now, we have to be stuck with LPL. But it is the biggest team tour representation, and it's an exciting time for LCUU. I, unfortunately, am not playing because I drafted Serene Grace, who is just the GOAT. So,
what the fuck?
I'm not too big to say it, so it's whatever. So, I will unfortunately not be running the table this year, but it's fine. Serene will do it instead.
It's actually very fortunate for LCUU as a tier to have Serene and also to have Jocks playing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it is. I mean, the pool itself is like super good, but we will talk about that
in due time.
We'll get there. Yeah.
All right. But speaking of Serene and Jocks, why don't we hop into the first game of the week, actually, which was those two versing off against each other. They played very early on in the week. Like, I honestly didn't even, Serene didn't even test his team. He just kind of built it and was like, all right, let's go. And if y'all want to see Jocks' team prep and his video and his, view of the game, he did a video on that. I will try to remember to link that in the description and stuff. But from the teams, Serene brought a nice Hail. He's known for using a Hail team in LCOU with his wide lens Alolan Sandshrew. But Jocks also brought not really Hail, but he brought Namara, which is very threatening, along with the Krogunk. What do you guys think about the matchup for this one?
Yeah, so it's interesting because we thought a lot about we did a fair amount of prep, and we thought a lot about a Joltik style team, what that would look like, as well as what we expected Serene to bring, and we expected Serene to bring either Hail or something a little cheesier. We did think quite a bit about Zig and about Magby, but the matchup we ended up getting I think Jocks felt pretty confident in it. I thought it was a little tougher than maybe it could have been.
I think as soon as you have a Alolan picks and the opponent has Amora without a Hill Sweeper, the matchup is rough for Amora because Amora can't do anything without just take 3 or 4 mons.
Totally. I think also we brought Scarf Frillish, which has for whatever reason. Sorry, go ahead.
Jocks DM'd me and a version of the team, and originally the Frillish was not a Scarf.
That's right.
Yeah, I know.
And so we went for Scarf because we wanted more offensive pressure. I think Jocks felt the traditional Frillish role was sort of a dead slot there. But interestingly enough, I think if we'd brought a defensive Frillish, we could have won that end game. But that's all right. I mean, I think it went down pretty okay. Obviously there was the big moment where I felt kind of crazy where Jocks kind of gave up his Krogunk. I mean, he didn't think that Pancham was going to be running a 15 speed Zen Headbutt, which that's why I felt it was on me, because I feel that's just what Pancham is. I mean, it could have been 14, but Zen Headbutt is essential for Pancham's kit right now. So that was kind of an unfortunate moment. I think we had the momentum up until that point. But it was a really good game. Serene is super tough, and Jocks, played great in testing. That team did super well. So yeah, he wins some.
I think Serene played phenomenally around the Joltik early game, because Joltik is super hard to switch into, and he just let it get some 40% hits until it was at low HP, and then Jocks was like, I'll sack this 20% Joltik.
Yeah, Joltik's value was lower than it definitely could have been that game. Joltik obviously has super effective coverage on 3 of Serene's mons and everything. I was a big fan of Jocks' prep and team after seeing it in his video. Specifically, really loved the Life Orb Krogunk in particular, and Zero touched on the real turning point of the match, which was when Serene's Pancham, which was 15 speed because it wasn't a team built by me, was able to win the tie versus his Krogunk and take it out after Krogunk would have been able to just kill it with the Sludge Bomb had it not gone that way, and I think it would have been much harder for us to win from there. But
yep.
Yeah, no, it was a good game overall. Still was pretty close at the end. Scarf Amora is obviously a big threat, especially with the addition of Freeze Dry in its kit now is super nice. One thing I didn't like about well, it's not really didn't like, but one thing I was worried about was the Sandshrew on Serene's team getting parried by the surprise T-Wave Joltik. I don't feel like T-Wave's super common, but
that's a zero tech.
Yeah, it ended up not mattering as much, and also Serene kind of choked the end because he was accidentally miscalced. Because the calc didn't have Scarf Frillish there, so rather than clicking X and just killing it, he played the recover game.
Yeah.
And,
yeah.
But luckily, we didn't lose off of that. So, so the first game of the week went Serene's way. Cherubi Bombers 1-0 on the LCU season, but Jocks had a really good showing. Our next game of the week was. It was Kip versus Thiago, was it not?
Yes, it was.
All right, so we've got Kip in here ourselves. Why don't you talk us through your team with the disgusting Honedge and the less disgusting Machop?
Yeah, I can pretend I was like really counter teaming or heavily prepping. The truth is, I built this team in 5. Rolled with it. I tested with it with 3 different opponents, and it did really well, so I was fine with it. I don't want to disrespect Thiago. I think Thiago is a phenomenal player, but team just turned out to be really good for the amount of prep that went into it. And yeah, as bad as Honedge is, it did get the chip it needed. It did get the sneaky little shadow sneak on.
He cut out there, but I believe he meant the
help out in the end.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it was.
There was this 1v1 between Omanite and Stunky in the middle of the match where I scolded. This is because I had a Stealth Rock, Spikes, Scald, and Ice Beam, because for the hazard set of Omanite, I think for this team it was really important to not be dead weight versus Lilip. So that's why I couldn't OHKO the Stunky with Omanite.
No Earth Power, right? Yeah.
No Earth Power.
Yeah, I think
so. Honedge was nice for that.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah.
And after that, the real surprise set that actually turned out to be good instead of the Honedge. The Life for Baltoy was able to pick up the game.
Yeah, no, Life for Baltoy was definitely a surprise. I was happy to see when it showed up. Baltoy is underrated in the fact that it's such a good like utility mon. Generally, it checks so many boxes for a team between just being a ground immunity, electric immunity. It's got rocks, it's got spin, it's got that beautiful ground ice coverage if you want. You also got a really good stab for this tier in psychic. Like Baltoy's got a lot of things going for it, but it's not really used offensively too much because it's only got 40 base special attack, which is kind of underwhelming. But your Life Orb Baltoy really put in the work here, especially after it got off that rapid spin.
Yep, super cool to see.
Yeah. Do we
even in test?
Go ahead,
when
Jesse.
you tested versus me, the Baltoy was like the mom that killed like half my team every time.
Yeah, no, Baltoy is.
So yeah, that set is surprising.
You know, Baltoy is a huge threat for sure. Let's not give short shrift to the team brought by Thiago here. What do you we think about what he brought? He brought Inkay, which is a bit of an underused mon in our underused metagame, but the rest of it was fairly standard. I actually was in game. I was like, oh, if this isn't Scarf Inkay, it actually could have done really well by knocking there. But it was unfortunately the standard Scarf set unfortunately for Thiago's set. But I just want to hear other thoughts on his team.
I mean, the rest of the team is obviously just standard mons. They did their job. The fact that the Centrio died early was really bad, I think, for him.
Yeah.
Because... Go ahead.
I think the team was fine, but like it lacked like something for Magby. Like Magby literally like I think at least I can talk for me. Everyone was like super worried about like the hyper offense matchup because Magby was here and oh my god, Magby that money is broken and blah 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 blah. So
yeah. I mean, if Cottony has Anchor, it can deal with Magby in a 50-50 situation.
Yeah, Cottony wins
but
that.
Then again, you force yourself to win the 50-50 every time.
Yeah, it's definitely not ideal. I totally agree.
Yeah. Sandshrew also will... Well, no, Sandshrew won't lift the Fire Punch, but like after you deal with the... like, if you can Encore it into Mach, which is not hard to do, I don't think. It's not that difficult, but I do believe it was a bit under-prepped for Magby and more of the cheese strategies, like a Zig, for example. His Zig counterplay was Sandshrew lives a hit. Hopefully it's not 15 speed and not running Seed Bomb. Other than that, it was like, I guess we lose.
I also think he maybe held on too long to his Joltik, because his Joltik technically had 30 HP left, I believe, something like that, 38% of HP. But it wasn't going to amount to anything endgame, and he ended up sacking a lot of other mons instead of it.
Yeah, both your Joltiks actually decided to
we
off early.
We just traded early game.
Yeah, no, ended up basically taking both out of the game. In the long term, yours went down first, obviously, but I don't think it was a terrible team or a terrible showing from Thiago. Just
no.
Surprised by
it was definitely team.
What was that?
Yeah, I don't know who built the team for him. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I think he built it himself.
But was it? I'm cool by that.
Okay. Yeah, it's possible that he had some input from the likes of like Pamp or something, but I wouldn't be surprised if he built that himself. But it wasn't bad or anything. Yeah, I do really applaud your use of the Life Orb Baltoy in that game. I'm not sure if actually everyone can hear me or not, but we're just gonna...
Yeah, I
okay.
can.
Okay, cool. But yeah, so Kip picked up his victory
with the disgusting Honedge.
Yep, with the disgusting Honedge, who is 100% win rate. We didn't touch on the Machop, actually, who was just, what, Scarf Dynamic Punch?
Scarf, Dynamic Punch, Rock Slides. I was Poison Jab for Cudney, and Knockoff.
Makes sense. Machop, Dynamic Punch is going to do Dynamic Punch things. The Machop didn't really do anything this game, did it? I don't think it did. It didn't.
It threatened out the Joltik once I volt switched at mine.
True. But, other than that, it was just kind of looking... there to look cool. There to take out a Pancham usage.
Yeah.
All right, next up.
I mean, Pancham couldn't have done what Matchup did unless it ran Stone Age.
Fair.
In that game.
That is
that's fair.
Definitely fair. Or I guess, does Pancham get Fire Punch? It probably does. Yeah, it might not though.
Yeah, but you shouldn't run Fire Punch.
No, why would you do that?
I mean, why would you do that?
Exactly. Anyway, next up we've got JC, who's also in the call, versus Albinson. JC brought the most interesting team of the week, I think. At least the most non-standard. So why don't you give us the rundown of what you brought here?
I mean, I gotta say, this was a last day change team. I had something totally different prepared for Alvin. But I was literally in my bed thinking, oh wait, we have rain sweepers now. And I started theory crafting and got my phone. I started building and testing it with my boy Trix, who is helping me test stuff with Yuyu. But yeah, so I started building, and they had something that, yeah, of course, there are electrics and there's like release, Gronk, and this stuff that can rain look. But well, I'm getting kinda repetitive, so I'm gonna go directly to the thing. Basically, I wanted the rain, so it was like fully rain oriented, but it also had outs when rain was not up. So
it did.
So basically, Diglett is basically the electric stop, otherwise, or Eleki, and Elemental too, but lesser.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And well, I mean, the Diglett I got kinda once.
Yeah. Albinson also had a really good team against Rain.
Oh yeah, that was
I copied the idea of the Diglett from Serene, basically. I'm not gonna lie. Like I saw the Diglett doing very well versus Joltik. Okay, that's gonna be.
Yeah.
And you have like the two sweepers. Elliot, who was a Scarf, and the most interesting on the team is like the Scorupy, who was basically added because originally I wanted another rain down setter, but then Yolu, it can be good offensively, but defensively doesn't really add anything, and I didn't want to rely on to beat the fighting types. I was kind of paranoid about it. Started looking on possible rain dance setter. I just went to score. So that'll be.
And Scorpy has the speed to set range versus fighting types.
Yeah. It's just unfortunate that Cottony doesn't get Rain Dance. Because that would be very good. But yeah, no, you ran into a very tough matchup. Albinson bringing the Krogunk, also having to deal with the Frillish, and even Meowth is just very tough for what you're doing. But you still had a shot at the end there with Kabuto, I think. It was just kind of unfortunate in the way it played out. I know you tried to sack the Mantike on a particular turn where Albinson also switched for some reason, and you weren't able to do that. But it was closer than it probably should have been just based on matchup. So that was definitely credit to you there. But Albinson was able to pick up the win with a really just very standard team. Meowth obviously for like Zig Cheese and Magby and stuff like that.
For the rest, it's the most defensive team probably brought all week. What Albinson brought.
Which is pretty funny because it's not defensive. Really.
No, it's not. It is bulky offense at most, and I don't even think I would consider it that.
It's not really bulky offense at all. Yeah.
So yeah, no, there was a lot of offense seen this week.
Pure offense.
Yeah.
I mean, I gotta say, like.
Did he cut out?
Where he played.
If you said anything, JC, we didn't hear it.
Yeah.
What?
You're cutting
out. Hear what you said.
We didn't hear. Yeah. Try again.
What I was saying is that props to Alvin played really well. But I think the game went down to where I didn't expect the Krogong to be set, so that was not a specific turn. Like
that was definitely weird.
Right. I forgot that y'all newbies didn't experience Glue Gunk when it was the common set.
I knew the set was happening, but I wasn't like.
Yeah, like even in the Gen 7 analysis, they say bring mixed Krogunk, but in LCU it's not been brought at all until this point.
I mean, I've used it.
Yeah, that's basically why I did.
Yeah, I think Joltik has run Knock, but I don't think we've seen more than that, right?
Yeah, but I mean, he wasn't anything more than that, was he? I don't think he was. He was just he was Knock and then vacuum wave.
We didn't see the. Maybe we don't know.
Yeah, he may have been more physically orientated or more specially orientated, but I think Knock plus your standard vacuum wave, focus blast, sludge bomb is very viable. That's classic glue Krogunk from the good old days of ORAS LC. Though back then I had to run Sucker Punch because Gothita existed. And Abra,
I do
obviously.
think Albinson is a really good player to have in the pool.
Oh yeah,
he's great.
I know Zero built for him for the LCUU Cup.
He built mostly for himself, but we tested together a lot. I mean, I maybe built one team that he used, but yeah, he mostly built for himself with a lot of testing that we did together.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's also been a pretty common part of our room tours and stuff like that, where he does pretty well.
And he played for LC World Cup for Italy.
Yeah, he got wins in LCOU.
Oh wow! See, I didn't pay attention.
Very cool player to have among us.
Oh, for sure. All right. Let's jump to the final game of the week.
I want to see more of. But yeah, let's jump into the last game.
All right, last game of the week: KSG, KS Goat versus Reese. KSG's team, first of all, I love. Beautiful looking team. We've got the Goldeen, we got the Elekid, the Alolan Sandshrew, all making their first appearances of the week.
Not Alone in Century, but
Oh yeah, not Alone in Century.
Your player broke Alone in Century, but
but that was so long ago. I forgot. To be honest, and also this is a entirely different Alolan Sandshrew, not being in Hail.
Right.
Right.
Yes.
So,
also, meanwhile, on Reese's team, we had the first Mindslax in Carvana.
Yes, both mons that dropped recently, as me and Kip discussed in the last video. But this was a pretty cool game. I know we were in call for it. Me, Kip, and Jocks were in call for it. Looking at it, we saw it as a pretty straightforward KSG win, but it got a little hairy down toward the end there, a little hairier than we expected. But KSG was able to pull it out still.
Yeah. KSG is also the first person to bring a double fighting.
Yes. Fight spam is not something we see a whole lot in LCUU, though definitely I think viable. Panda and Krogunk are both so good. So it's cool to see them in tandem for once.
Yeah, it's interesting that here that kind of meant that KSG had to give up Panch pretty early.
Yeah.
Which worked out okay, except the end game was kind of a lot of 50-50s. Like the last 4 or 5 turns were kind of all coin flip turns.
Yeah, no, the end got a lot weirder than we were expecting, in particular.
This game also had quite a few crits.
Yeah. I don't know. How many of them were super consequential?
Significant?
I'm not entirely sure.
Maybe not too many of them. I don't know if Reese was running... I think that she was running, like, physically defensive, or whatever, physical def on her Krogunk. I don't know if it would have survived that drill run. Probably not, but maybe. I'd have to check the roll.
From the calc that was posted in battle, it doesn't look like it did, but I'm not sure.
Yeah. And there was something else that happened. I don't remember.
Well, the main thing I was worried about was the fact that Reese sacrificed Munchlax into the Pancham.
Yeah, that was tough early. Yeah.
Where he had Cottony.
Yeah, no.
Drain Punch.
Yeah, that was definitely an odd play. I'm not sure what they were going for there, because the Munch had already been knocked off at that point as well, so it's not even like you were trying to be over predictive of the knock and try to surprise the Pancham. Maybe they were just giving it up, but it was definitely a odd choice. But yeah, in the end game, I think it really came down to a lot of 50-50s, most notably with the Elekid in against the Joltik, going for that Thunderbolt as Reese went hard Carvana. That was definitely a tough play because the Krogunk Vacuum Wave does not do a ton to Joltik, even Life Orb, which KHG's was. So getting that play right really sealed the game for him, and allowed the Elekid to get off the necessary chip with the Psychic when Joltik came out again. But it was definitely an exciting endgame for sure. So yeah, that's all the games from this week. I think that's everything we needed to talk about, and I think it's probably a good time to call it here. Unless anyone has any final thoughts they want to give on the meta, next week we'll probably try to do this again next week, or at least sometime in the future, so we won't get into too much of forecasting for the future in terms of individual matchups or anything. Just know that the Ruby Bombers will be going 7-0, actually 9-0, as we win the whole damn thing. But unless anyone else has anything to go to say, I think it's time to sign off.
Yeah, it's great talking to you guys.
All right. So you heard it here first. Stay tuned for more LCUU content. Sorry about any technical difficulties that may have occurred obviously that is not much we can do about that. But if you enjoyed the video, if you stayed this long, good for you. But hit the like button if you're interested in this type of, if you're interested in LC content, specifically LCUU. If LCOU gets good again, maybe more of that as well. Content, hit the subscribe button.
To Jocks as well.
Yeah, subscribe to Jocks as well. We'll leave his the link to his battle from this week in the description. But hit the like button, subscribe, comment any feedback you have, and we'll see you next time. My name is Joltik, and bye. Everybody else can say bye as well.
See you.
Bye.
All right.